Now, going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have Bud Light. Well, it looks like the grandson's of the founder. He's making an offer to buy the company back. Now, it looks like it's actually the heir. So Billy Bush, his grandfather actually founded the company Anheuser-Busch all those years ago, before the Anheuser-Busch was sold to InBev. So it used to be an independent American company. They sold out to Belgian-based InBev, INBEV, back in 2008. So now Billy Bush is saying he wants to, buy it back in order to basically save the brand that's basically a shell of what it used to be. After April 1st, 2023, well, this year, where they brilliantly chose to partner with someone who, their average audience for Dylan Mulvaney is someone who's in their teens, so they can't buy the beer, and they chose someone who's a political figure, as the trans debate has become a political thing, and they brilliantly, or I should say, that's obviously, that's sarcasm, folks. They pissed off people on the left, the right, and the center, because Bud Light did not, quote unquote, stick with Dylan. People on the left side of the political aisle, they felt betrayed. So there's a famous, well, I say famous, there's an article a couple weeks ago about a gay bar holding company in Chicago. There's many of them there. And they said of all the bars they control, they're completely killing all the Bud Light products. They won't carry them anymore. And that particular company owned 4 bars. And they said, specifically because Anheuser-Busch InBev did not stick with Dylan. You also have bars, restaurants, people on the right side of the political aisle who didn't appreciate that that endorsement, so they dropped the product as well. And then people in the middle wondering, do I really want to have a conversation? Or do I really have someone ask me, why did I buy a Bud Light? Do I think it's okay to sell beer to kids or to advertise to kids? Do I really want to have that conversation? Do I really want to support that company? And many people have chosen, no, I will not. So they lost $400 million in sales compared to the same fiscal quarter last year. So it's a direct result of the boycott. The boycott is certainly working. Now, many people feel the brand is no longer authentic because, again, it's no longer owned by the company, by the founders. It's no longer owned by the family. It's owned by a foreign entity across the globe with obviously different set of morals and values. So Billy Bush is saying, hey, I'd love to buy it back. And he actually sat down with the interview, and when asked for comment, he actually he was speaking with Tommy Lauren on her show called Fearless, and he said he wanted to buy back the brand in order to, quote unquote, make that brand great again, unquote. Which, if he didn't have a Trump hat on, that would have been hilarious. That's a lost marketing. I know that you shouldn't be political because obviously this would have gotten him in trouble in the first place. I would argue the average person who drinks Bud Light is probably more politically aligned to supporting Donald Trump, but to make that brand great again is so close to his campaign strategy. That's just, I don't know if that's funny or just, it can't be a coincidence, but it's moderately entertaining that he said that. And it looks like Lauren said, this is talking to Billy Bush, quote, when it comes to marketing and saying moving away from a fratty hat base, is that InBev in general, or is it just one person? It doesn't seem like they've cleaned house or got rid of the people who think that way, and they really don't like their customers, unquote. And Billy Bush said, quote, well, that goes against being inclusive to get away from that fratty drinker, right? So that's a big mistake, unquote. Now, Billy went on to say that InBev made the marketing when they made that marketing blunder with Dylan Mulvaney, they did not understand, quote, who their core drinker is, unquote. Which, yeah, obviously, yes, I think everyone could agree with that analysis. And he was asking them, who do you think would, what were your parents think about this? His dad and his grandfather who started the company, and he said, quote, they knew who their drinkers were. They were with the bar owners and the restaurant owners and the liquor store owners talking to these people day in and day out. Even my dad at 89 years old and 90 years old, he was still going to the bars and selling Budweiser back in those days in the 80s, unquote. He says, another quote, I urge the company InBev, if they don't want the brand any longer, sell it back to the Bush family, sell it to me. I'll be the first in line to buy the brand back from you, and we'll make your brand great again, unquote. Which is one of those things where I'm trying to think, how does Bud Light turn this ship around? Realistically, if you want to salvage that specific brand, I can't help but think that's most likely the best odds of success. Because a lot of people have disdain towards the brand, not only because of the business blunder of partnering with Dylan Mulvaney, but it just doesn't feel authentic anymore. It's not family owned, it's not American owned, it's owned by a company over in Belgium, which I guess they don't just make great waffles and rifles, they also make beer. But if you really want to regain that authenticity, I think that'd be the only way to do it. Now, I don't know if InBev would be willing to do that because they do make so much money from it, even though their sales have dropped between 27 and 30% week over week, depending on which statistic each week that you're looking at. They're still making money. Is it profitable? That's what we're going to see long term. But let me know in the comments, would that fix your perception of Bud Light? Would you be willing to buy Bud Light if they sold it back to the family? My 3 cents, and again, it used to be 2 cents, but 40-year hyperinflation should be 4 cents, but only 3 cents. But it is free to click the subscribe button. Goal is to get to 3,000 by the end of August. I greatly appreciate your support. But my 3 cents is if they completely divested Budweiser and Bud Light back to the family, and of course the Busch, the couple other brands, and you had no connection with the parent with InBev anymore, and they also fired more people in marketing. I know recently they did lay off between 300 and I think it's 390 or 400 employees, mostly in marketing, but I could think a couple of those business moves would change the brand perception enough to reverse the trend of them just hemorrhaging sales. I think that's the only conceivable, and again, I don't know what the brand is worth right now. That's something to debate as well. But I don't know if Billy has enough money personally, or again, he would have to take out funds. But then if he has to take on some friends, or he has to have some help from venture capital, then you have the same issue where a lot of people right now in the U.S. are boycotting companies, partially because they're owned by BlackRock, Vanguard Group, where you have those companies that are pushing political initiatives and ESG scores. So if he has to rely on those funds, that'd be another issue. Now, call me crazy, but this is just off the cuff, so to say. Why not team up with Elon Musk? Elon Musk has many resources, and presumably he might not own a beer company. He's that further diversified his portfolio of having, electric cars, solar panels, a boring company. I mean, not pejoratively, but literally they have a machine that bores tunnels. But you would also have SpaceX. You'd also have Starlink. You'd also have X, Twitter. Why not have a beer company? Not a terrible idea. Let me know in the comments. Would that be enough for you to buy Bud Light again? Time shall tell. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Also, once you're to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of August, so if you click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to take the time to like and comment. The feedback is always greatly appreciated. It helps us make the show better and better. Also helps with the algorithm, so it gets shown to more and more people. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your co-workers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.